Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and I'm here to review the new Netflix documentary, Crack. Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy. And this documentary focuses on the effects of crack on America, on urban communities, specifically telling stories of users. And I think in Stanley Nelson's documentary here, Crack, I think one of the most impactful aspects of it is that there's a lot of actual former users that come on and talk about the experience, and you get that first-hand perspective on the power that this drug could have on people. And it becomes very personal. You feel that story and you see the struggle. You hear about the struggle that this caused, and I feel like that's so meaningful in this documentary. You also have, there's some really hard things to watch. You have a wide variety of different people, whether it's neuroscientists and politicians that come on. Charlie Rangel telling this one particular story about the systematic impact this has culturally on young people, and this expectation that, like, a 9-year-old talking about how he wants to be presented at his funeral someday, which is sad. And those kinds of stories in here and videos of actual people reacting to, like, children wanting for their moms, that's the most impactful aspect of this film, is really when it looks at the people. It can be a bit scattered, this documentary, because it does focus on some bigger ideas, whether it's the whole war on drugs, showing the Reagan administration, showing their ad campaigns like Clint Eastwood and Pee Wee Herman, and that was a weird one. And you have going into George H.W. Bush's administration and all these different things, the conspiracies of, there's one particular thing that one of the people said, it's just like, you couldn't get a single Cuban cigar in from Cuba into America, but you could get tons of cocaine into America somehow, and they couldn't stop that. And those are some of the most fascinating things about that, is the level of how deep this issue went and where did it come from. And this documentary takes a deep look into that. And it can be a little bit disconnected, because, like, it could veer off a little bit too much into thinking about the conspiracies, and you're losing that connection with the actual impact. One of the neuroscientists that talk in this documentary really focuses on, like, the whole myth of, like, crack babies and how that took on the whole entire life in our country, and what the real impact actually was very small, and how it set up particular stereotypes about people from urban areas, people of color. And this documentary has a lot of layers to it. It doesn't always nail those transitions from those bigger ideas back to the human topics and, like, that human level of dealing with this issue. But over the course of the documentary, I think it's informative. It can be very emotional and powerful in some of those moments where it does hit on the very human aspects of this issue. And it might jump back and forth at times and be a little disjointed, but I think in the end, this is definitely a documentary worth watching, because it gives a lot of perspective, and unfortunately, it brings up a lot of concerning things that are still going on today. So I think this is worth checking out, even if it's not the most impressive and most dynamic documentary. It's still something that's going to make you feel things and learn some things. But those are my thoughts on Crack, Cocaine, Corruption, and Conspiracy on Netflix. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.